All right, guys, I have 1 o'clock, and so we will go ahead and get started just so that we can be respectful of everybody's time. And as a reminder, this is being recorded, and I will send the recording out after we are done here today. So if you have to leave early or if you just want to go back and review what we talked about, you will be able to do that. So today we are talking about beyond basics. So really what we're going to look at is some of the other features that Canvas has. I'm going to look at the level 102 course. We'll talk about some of the specific things in there. I'll answer questions for you. This one's going to be a little bit more casual. And then depending on time, I'll show you what I have planned so far for the level 103 course. Please note that that is still under construction, but there are some really cool things in there. So really this one is a little bit more casual and unstructured and can kind of function more as a Q&A because you've already done the basics course. This is looking at those next level things that you could use to add some more engagement to your class. Remember that the basics is just that, it's basics. It's enough to get you up and running for an online classroom. It's content, it's assignments, it's announcements, it's calendar, but anything beyond that, so getting into discussions, using quizzes, using rubrics, adding prereqs, making your homepage linked versus just the module view. That's all beyond basics, and that's what we're going to look at today. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and just open it up to you guys. There are about 9 of us in here right now. So I'm just going to open it up. Feel free to unmute yourself. And if you want to see something in particular, that's where we'll start.
Can we talk about the rubrics?
Rubrics, yes. All right, so rubrics. In Canvas, when you make an assignment, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make an assignment, just a new assignment. Okay, I'm going to add the item. And I'm going to click on it and I'm going to edit it. All right, so let's say that I want my students to read this article, right, whatever. And then I want them to write a summary. Okay, so that's a pretty simple assignment. And we'll pretend like there's something linked there, okay? I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna do my normal assignment things like I always would do. So I'm gonna make this, they can type it, they can do a Google Doc, or they can type it in a Word doc, whatever. Okay, or they could take a picture of their handwritten one. We have lots of options here. Okay, so I'm gonna come here and then I am going to go ahead and save. I have to build the assignment first. Okay, that's the key here. You build the assignment and then hit save. Now you can see I have this option right here to add a rubric. Is everyone with me on that? So I built the assignment first. Now I can add a rubric. Now it's going to default to this generic sum rubric. That's what they're all called the first time you build them. I don't know why, but that's what it is. So I can go ahead and change the name, and I'm going to call this summary rubric. And then I can start adjusting the criteria. I can make my own custom criteria right here. So like if I want to say length, okay, update it, and then I can come here and say, I'm going to say that that's worth 20 points. Full marks means that it was at least 3 paragraphs. Let's pretend that I can spell. Okay. Then you notice right now it just has the full and then the 0. Well, obviously we don't grade that way. We don't, especially with the rubric. So I can hit this plus sign and I can give partial credit. So I can say 15 points And this is, and I can also change this, so I could have made that like exceeds. This is proficient, right? And I can say this one was 2 paragraphs. And then I could even add another one here, and let's say 8 points, and this is approaching. And this was 1 to 2 paragraphs shorter in length. Okay, so you get the idea there. And then 0 points would be like they didn't write anything, okay? So I can keep doing that for anything that I want to do. So I could put in spelling, I could put in conventions, I could put in transition words, I could put anything I want. But I can also add my teaks. And this is very cool. So what I would do is I would go to Find Outcome. And I've already imported this 7th grade into my course. And we can talk about outcomes when we get done with rubrics, just so you can see how you can do this. But so I would go to ELAR 7th grade, and then I'm going to find my standard. So right here, students write, that's imagination. Write a multi-paragraph, whatever. Let's just pretend like this is the right standards, okay? So let's say I want to use this standard. I'm going to go ahead and import that, and you'll see there that it added it. You cannot edit this, but you can do exceeds, meets, and does not meet. And then I can just repeat that for as many different standards as I'd like to assess on. Okay, so now this is worth 45 points. Okay, so what I can do now is if I'm happy with my rubric, I'm going to say I'm going to use this rubric to grade, and I want to create it, and I'm going to change the point value because I want my point value to match my rubric. Does that make sense to everybody? Because originally I said 100 points, but my rubric didn't equal 100 points. I'm not going to make my rubric equal 100 points. What I really wanted was these teaks, and I could even remove this length one if I want to just focus on the teaks. Okay, so that's how you make the rubric.
Misty?
Yes.
Does the first rating, I guess it's called criterion ratings, the one you have for length, didn't you say at some point that it has to match all the others? It has to also be 5, 3, and 0, or it can be they can all be different?
It can be different because I added that one. The ones from the outcomes will always be 5, 3, and 0.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but any that so like if I had something else that wasn't covered by these teaks, but I wanted to add it personally, I could, and I could make it any points I wanted. And then I would just update the assignment to match the point value of my rubric.
Okay.
So now, let me show you on student view. Oh, I didn't publish that, I guess. Sorry. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so as the student, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to submit my assignment. And I'm just going to do this awesome summary that I'm writing right now, okay? Yay, I turned it in on time. Okay. Now, as a teacher, I have a submission to grade. So I'm going to go to SpeedGrader. And I'm going to say View Rubric. And I can click and drag this window over. For some reason, I have trouble with this. I don't know why. But you're supposed to be able to click and drag this window. There we go. Click and drag this window over. There's what my student submitted. Okay. So I'm going to say that was 1 to 2 paragraphs. I can give them specific feedback here. So specific feedback. Then I can look at those teaks and I can say met expectations, did not meet, met, whatever. Save. Now that student got 20 out of 45 and they have the rubric there to show them how they did. So that is how you can use rubrics in Canvas.
So there is no automatic, I guess, automatic speed grading. if you have to manually go in and do what you just did. If you're
For-
using a rubric, you have to manually grade.
Yes.
Okay. But it
Yeah.
looked like all you did was click.
Yep, it's just click.
Meet or
Mhm.
whatever. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So once you get it built, you can reuse that rubric for other assignments. So like if my summary rubric is the same no matter what story my kids read, I could use that same rubric every time. Or like if you have a presentation rubric and it doesn't matter what they're actually presenting on, you could reuse that rubric for multiple assignments once you make it. So that's a rubric. And the students will see the rubric and the comments and everything just like they would if you just left them regular feedback.
So when I was doing it, when I was practicing and I was doing the standards, when I clicked that standards button or whatever it's called, not all of my standards were loaded. So I think some of us or some departments may have to go in. There were only like a few of this outcomes loaded, preloaded in. I thought they were all going to be preloaded in, but they actually weren't. So
They
I had
should
to go in
all
and add,
be there, Dawn.
yeah, they weren't. I had to go in and add the rest of them. So just
So
FYI.
tell me which one under science.
Science, biology. Well, they should be there now
Biology.
because I added them to our sandbox, but there were only a few in there. They weren't all in there. There was
So
only
these
like
this 1 through 12 isn't all of them?
they weren't. No, those all weren't there when I looked at them under biology. So I went in and imported all of them. There was only like the fourth one. It was weird. It was just a random.
So make sure that you weren't looking at the power standards.
Show me the difference. Where were those?
I took them out.
Okay.
Because the power standards or the support, like readiness standards, only had certain ones.
Okay, maybe that's what it was then. Okay, that's fine.
So, and by the way, I have put a request in to make sure that the most up-to-date TEKs are in there. That's a ticket that goes to Canvas, because I know like Texas history got updated in 2018, but these are older than that. So like if your TEKs have been recently updated in the last couple of years, there will be, and that's why I went ahead and changed the name of this to Texas 2019. You can see that. So this is going to be 2019 and before. And then once we get the new TEKs in, there will be another one here that says, I'll probably call it Texas 2020. But if your TEKs didn't change, you can use the 2019 one. But I know for some of you, your TEKs have changed recently. So just FYI, that is coming.
Are we able to add outcomes to quizzes so that when we do data, we can look at questions and TEKs?
Yes, you can also add outcomes to quizzes. Yes. I don't know if you added at the question level or if you added at the question bank level. Let me look into that, Dawn, but I know you can add outcomes to quizzes. I know you can. I just don't know exactly how it works. But I know you can. Okay. Because I know that's one of the pros to it is being able to add your outcomes. So I'm gonna write that down, and then I'll make sure to follow up on that.
Is there a way to get AP course standards added?
Possibly. I'd have to ask because I don't know where those come from, if Canvas has access to that.
Okay.
But I can ask.
College Board, I would assume.
College Board standards. I do know we have the college and career readiness standards in there. And then we also have the ISTE standards and CTE. So, and then pre-kindergarten, which I don't think impacts anybody in here, but Yes, I did take those other ones out, Dawn, because I do think that was confusing. So hopefully these are your full TEKs now.
Okay. Yeah, they're in there now. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's outcomes and rubrics. What else?
Misty, can you quickly review for us how do you add those circles you have in your screen right now? The unit name, the circles,
these guys?
Yes, for ornament.
So
yes.
what I did on these is I built them in Canva. So Canva.
Yeah, I remember that in one of your trainings.
And then after I make the buttons, I download them, and then I come and I build a page, and you click edit. And then I like to work in a table so that they're organized.
In a table.
And then what you do is you pop the image in. So click on this little image, and here, I'll show you down here. So I'll just go ahead and.
So you insert a table first, yes.
Inserted a table. So there's my table. I like to format my table. I like it to be auto, and I don't like a border. That's just personal preference. So, you know, whatever you want there. So that makes it look like this. Then I can come in and say upload an image. And I don't know that I have any. I'm just going to put a random button in because I don't have anything on my computer right now. Don't do that. Let's try again. Okay, so there it is. There's the image. And then if I want to link that, then I come up here to this link icon and say external link if I want it to go somewhere else, course link if I want it to go to a module, and then I hit save.
Okay.
And then now I can click that, and it'll take me to the module.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes. So I know you had done that, Mr. Gonzalez, with your words.
Yeah, I try, but I didn't.
Same idea. Like you can. This is the same idea, just with a picture instead of the words.
But I didn't insert any little L icons, and I love yours. Yeah.
You like the little L ones? I just made those in Canva. Yep.
But in Canva, we need to make them, or they exist already?
I had to make them. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I have some generic ones somewhere that just say like Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3.
Okay.
If you're interested in those, let me know and I'll share them with you. But they're not LE. They're just generic.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
So. Okay.
And Misty, how do you make it so they can't see things until you're ready for them? Like if you wanted, you have to complete this before you can do this kind of thing?
Okay. So that is actually going to be, there's a couple of ways you can do that, Lisa. One is by unpublishing any future modules, like that you just don't want them to be able to see it all. The other thing you can do, though, is that you can add prereqs and requirements. So looking at this Unit 1 right here, you can see how it says complete all items. So these say mark done, submit, 20 points, things like that. So to do that, you go at the module level itself, so this gray bar where the module name is, and you click on the triple dot, and then say edit, and you're going to have the option right here to add prereqs and requirements. So a prereq, I could say they have to complete the modules before that, before they can get to this module. So like if you wanted them to do line before they did space, you could say, you could call like, you know, the previous module line and say they must complete line before they can get into space. Then down here, this is all the actual assignments that I have for in my module. And I'm going to say whatever I want them to do. I can also say they have to move through them in sequential order. So if the instructional content builds, I want them to view this presentation in this video before they do the assignment. I can say they have to view these pages before they can submit. I'm going to say update modules. And now you can see that they have to go through these things and they can't get to it until they do whatever they need to do up here in this one. So that's at the module level, edit, prereqs, and requirements. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. I don't want them to do week 2 before they've done the first week.
Yes, so that's what you would do. And then, like I said, you could also always just unpublish it and they wouldn't be able to see it, but you have to remember to go and publish it after. So just keep that in mind. And if you unpublish the module, as long as you have these other buttons hidden, they can't see anything. But if you unpublish the module and still have assignments visible, they could just click assignments and go straight there. So that's why generally I recommend you don't have anything but modules, announcements, syllabus, and grades visible to your students. That kind of forces them to go through the module. That way, if you do have prereqs and requirements, they can't skip around.
Yeah, I start thinking on that, Misty. And I didn't go further because I was thinking, what about if I have a student who joined my class like in November? And then he has to do the prerequisite or go to chapter number 1, 2, 3, and we are in chapter 4 already. That should be a trouble to remember to.
Yes, so in that case, like there are certain ways that you can kind of work around that a little bit. You can always go back in and remove the prereqs if you needed to. I know that is hard, but that is where like not publishing the content would help with that too.
That's the only reason I quit doing that.
Yeah. We do, and especially right now with the students potentially moving around a lot at the 9 weeks, just do keep that in mind.
Yeah, and always we have new students at school. Always,
yes,
all
always.
One day in May, say, what? A new student in May? Yeah, okay. This is America, yeah. Families move, yeah.
What else, guys?
Misty,
Yes.
I work in special education and base, and we have not, I'm not clear, but our parents might have to fill out the daily behavior chart if the kids are at home. So should I set that up under collaborations or conferences so that I can have direct communication with the parent?
So parent is going to be a little bit different because really Canvas doesn't allow parents to submit things. Okay. For a lot of reasons. I mean, that's a good question. I don't have a good answer for that. Usually what parents can do is pretty much a view only aspect. They can see the calendar, they can see announcements, and they can see the assignments, but they can't submit anything.
Okay.
They can message you through the inbox, but I don't know. That may be something you have to do outside of Canvas, honestly, if the parents are the ones who are going to be completing it.
Okay.
If it was for the students, like to self-report, that would be totally fine.
Okay.
But because you could set that up just as like a recurring assignment or a spreadsheet and duplicate it or something like that. But because the parents can't actually, I mean, obviously the parents could go into their student's account and fill it out as the student. I mean, that would be the workaround there.
Right.
But
yeah,
in their,
I wanted to have something where the students per se couldn't access it, but the parents.
Yeah, there's not anything like that in Canvas, just because the parent role is pretty limited.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Let's see. I'm going to show you just real quick because we only have a few minutes left, but this is a course that I'm working on right now that is the deep dive course. This is going to have even more things that you can do in Canvas because, guys, I'm telling you, we haven't even scratched the surface. Like, there's so much that Canvas can do. And the reason we didn't do this all at once is because obviously this would be very overwhelming if you thought you had to have all of this done before school started. So this is not live yet, and it probably won't be live until for a while because I've got a lot to do in it still. But it will talk about some additional assignment features like group work and collaborations, peer reviews, we'll look at apps and LTIs that you can add at your course level. So like Edpuzzle, that's something you can add just to your course, versus Nearpod, which is something that we have on at the district level. Bitmoji banner, which is what my homepage has there, which was my little Bitmoji lady dancing across the screen. I've reached out to Lisa Bobo about how she uses PictoChart, just to give you some different options. Going to talk about mastery paths. And then Dawn, I know you had asked about kind of like hidden treasures. So these are some of the ones there. Would be things like there's a Canvas quiz printer Chrome extension, different feature settings that you can control at your course level, the message students who feature.
Cool.
Just things like that. So that will be coming. It is under construction, but it is going to be coming to you hopefully before school starts, but I'm not going to make any promises just because of everything else we have going on. But it will definitely be available, by September. So, because those are things that you could start the school year without knowing, and as you get more comfortable with Canvas, you could start doing these things.
What about the undelete? Yeah, the other day when we were working, we accidentally deleted something in our module and we had to start all over. And I knew there was some sort of an undelete trick, but I couldn't find it. Is that in there?
Yes, it is in there.
Okay, good.
Undelete content. Yes, ma'am. Yes, because I know that is one that it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of all this, we couldn't, or we were not sure if we could post or use Nearpod. So we can use Nearpod?
Yes. I've confirmed. So we have fewer licenses this year, but if you were using Nearpod last year, you will have a license. And because we still technically have school accounts, Nearpod is still available.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. But we did cut down on the number of licenses just from a usage standpoint and a cost standpoint.
And once we, like someone just said, once we post something, we're going to learn how to delete it, right? On the next level. Is that correct?
How to
delete, like delete something like a module or something that we have posted and we don't want there.
Oh, well, that I can show you. The what I have in there is the undelete. So that's if you accidentally delete something, it's a way that you can recover it. Okay. So as far as deleting itself, you can delete an entire module.
Okay.
And that's just at the module level. And just say delete. That does not remove the assignments or pages from your course, though. It just deletes the module. So you can delete a module, but those assignments and these pages would still be available. And I could get to them under pages and assignments over here on the sidebar. So if I want to remove something completely, then I need to go like down to like the page level or the assignment level, and then I could delete it from the entire course.
I see.
Like if you have, because I do that too. I'm like, I made these pages and then I changed my mind and didn't end up needing them. And then I have these random pages. So that's where you can do that at the page level or the assignment level, and you can delete the individual page.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Very
Hey,
good.
Misty, how does somebody else take our class and make it theirs?
So if you want to share, sorry, real quick. I have bad lighting in here. So I have this little tiny ring light on, like it's like this big, guys, on my computer, and I think it's dying. So if I start to get a little harder to see, that's why. All right, so there's a couple of things you can do, Lisa. One is you can share individual items with somebody. So right here at the assignment, there's these dots, and you can say, no, just kidding, you have to open it. When you open it, then you can say send to, and then you could put their email address in. The other way you can do this is that you can make them a co-teacher in your class. So if I would come here and under people, hit plus people and then type their email address in, and then change the drop down from student to teacher. And by the way, if it ever tells you their account doesn't exist, click on login ID, because sometimes if you use leisd.ws, you need to use login ID. If you use littleelmisd.net, use email address. It's one of those weird things. But once you do that, that'll make them a teacher in your course, and then they can actually copy the content into their own course. And to do that, they would go to settings. And I have a video that shows you how to do this too.
Okay, I guess I haven't found it yet.
Import course content, and then copy a Canvas course. Now, I have to type mine in because I have access to all the courses, but you would see all the courses you're enrolled in listed here. Like a drop down, basically, you would pick it. And then you could say all content or just specific content.
Okay. So Danny just has to go in and accept my code.
Yes. Yes. Once he's a co-teacher, then he can copy anything into his course.
Okay.
Yep.
Would he then, his stuff, then his kids' assignments and stuff wouldn't come to me, then they would just come to him, right?
They would come to him as long as you guys don't cross-list your classes together. As long as he's just copying your content over, you won't see his kids.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Missy, does that automatically update? Like once I copy his content and he adds something else, would it automatically update, or would I have to go back in and find it?
You'd have to go back in, but after that you could add just where it said choose specific content, you could just add the new pieces.
Okay.
Because essentially once you add it to your course, it's yours. Like you can make changes to it and it doesn't impact the original one either. It's basically like it's like making a copy of a Google Doc. Once you do that, you can make all the changes to it you want, but that also means you're not getting updates.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Misty, with me, I'm working in base. The classroom teachers make the assignments and I don't grade them. The kids just complete them in my room.
For
So,
you
yeah.
would probably want to be added as a co-teacher to your kids' classes.
Okay, but then
So that way you could just see. You could just see what your kids were working on, and that way, if you needed to help them or whatever, you'd have access to the assignment.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I recommend that for anybody that has, if you are the co-teacher, if you are a push-in teacher, anything that where you have a co-teach situation, I recommend highly that you add your co-teacher as a teacher to your course so that they are aware of what's going on. ESL support, SPED support, base support, anything like that. That just makes it easier for them to know what's going on in your classroom. Yeah, those are good questions. Anything else, guys? Just anything you've run into that you've been like, can it do this, or a way to do this, or run into any issues?
So what is going to happen in August, Misty, once we have our no, I mean in Canvas?
Okay.
Are we gonna, no, it's not a tricky question for you. So, and I assuming in Canvas, somebody's going to create our periods. And then from my sandbox, I'm just going to import whatever I have to every period, or?
You will get, so once the schedules are set, everything that's in focus will come over to Canvas. Okay. So all of your classes will come over, your students will be enrolled, all of that. You won't have to do any of that. Usually I do recommend that you cross list. We're going to make sure that we don't, that is something I hope that we'll be able to do together during our fall kickoff time is I'm hoping your classes will be made so that we can all cross list together, those that want to. And you don't have to, but that would make it so that you could put all of your same like classes together. So like all of your Spanish 2 classes could go into one, so you only had to post one time for your Spanish 2 assignments.
Oh, okay.
Even though maybe you have 3 periods of Spanish 2.
Spanish 2, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great.
That is something that you can't do yet, but yes, your classes will come over for you, and then anything you made in your sandbox this summer, you would copy into those live courses. And then after that, you could either continue building in your sandbox and copying, or you could start building in your live course. That would be up to you.
Okay.
And also, anything you built last year, you can copy into your courses.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of my question. So if my online kids are doing something just slightly different than my in-class kids, I would just make a second class for the in-class kids and import what I wanted to into that one?
Depending on the scheduling, Lisa, hopefully you would actually have an assigned section that was your online class so that you wouldn't have to make a class. That's going to depend on how scheduling works, obviously, but pretend like that's the case. And so, yes, you could just copy your work over, and then you could adjust the due dates or add the supplemental pieces that you needed to.
Okay. And you can assign something like to an individual student,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if I have somebody that's an ISS and not going to be in my regular classroom for 3 days, I can go say, do this modular and assign, just send it.
Yes. So you can go in and under the assignment itself, down here, instead of saying everyone, you can say certain class periods or to specific students.
Okay.
Yes. So, and you can also add, and then that you can even type in names. I just don't have any students in this class, but.
That's what I thought. I just, it's easier to ask you than go find it.
So yes, you can absolutely do that. And that's absolutely, like, kids that maybe did miss a few days, but they weren't going to be out for an extended amount of time. It was just 1 or 2 days. Even in your live face-to-face class, you could go back and assign it to them and give them a different due date or something like that. Yeah. The other thing, this is something that it's not on yet, I don't think, but it's coming soon. I haven't turned it on yet, but you can, right now, you can do, basically it's unlimited submissions, if you haven't ever noticed that, but it's basically unlimited submissions. There is a way now, though, that you can, nope, I don't have it turned on yet, but basically there will be an option here that would let you limit the number of submissions. So if you only wanted them to be able to submit it once, you could do that. If you only wanted them to be able to submit it twice, you could do that. If you don't care, then you could leave it as is. So I don't have that turned on yet, but that, I may have it set to allow. Yes, there it is. So let me show you what that looks like. And then I won't keep you guys much longer. I've already held you over, but so now instead of unlimited attempts, which is the default, I could say limited, and I can say they get 2 attempts. If that's something that anybody has been concerned about. Or you can leave it unlimited and they can submit it as many times as they need to. Just FYI there.
And that will still give you a notification when they resubmit, like that second time?
Yes. And also when you go into SpeedGrader, it'll show up and then it'll say this is not the most recent submission. And there'll be a drop down and you can see the original submission and then the newest submission. And you can use the same grade for both or change the grade depending on what you need to do.
Misty, are we going to have more formal hands-on Canvas training during back to school PD?
I don't know the answer to that.
Scheduled? Yeah, okay.
My guess would be no.
Okay.
But I know that, if there's something, obviously if there's something, we do have some digital learning time scheduled. I don't know what that will look like right now.
I'm just worried because it seems to be after TEA's announcement this week, it seems more and more that we're going to be starting online. I'm just thinking about all those teachers that haven't set anything up yet or done any of this. So I don't know how that's going to work.
I'm hopeful that there is still a lot of time left and but I do know that, Dawn, that those of you who have completed the basics are getting some time back. So that may also be a time that we're working with those that maybe needed some more hands-on support.
All right.
So, but I actually don't know. I mean, everything is, fluid.
Yeah.
So, but with that said, obviously I'm here to help answer any questions that you do have, and I will be here, and I'll be providing ongoing support throughout the year. It'll look a little different probably, but there will be opportunities for ongoing support throughout the year too. So.
Misty, now that you mentioned that, if we happen to have any issue, are we supposed to enter a ticket in technology or directly to you, or how is it gonna work?
It really, with Canvas, you can email me first, because a lot of times it's something, I'll tell you if I can't fix it. We also have a canvassing ticket system that goes to Canvas, not to our technology people. So it kind of depends on what the problem is. Obviously, if it's like a technical problem, put in a regular tech ticket because I can't help with that. But if it's specific to your Canvas course, then you can go ahead and email me first. And then if we can't solve it, I can redirect you, whether that needs to be a tech ticket or a Canvas ticket.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, Dawn, I can. So, all right, guys. Well, any other questions?
No, yes, congratulate your patient and your learning to us. It's kudos to you. You did great.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys did great. I'm very happy with, so far I've had 96 secondary teachers complete their training, which I think is awesome. So.
And how many of us what's the total of teachers?
Well.
But I finished and I won my t-shirt and I'm going to submit my information. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Make sure you did. If you should have gotten an email from me.
I did.
If you just finished like yesterday or today, but yeah, other than that, you should have gotten an email from me. I sent it yesterday. So to fill out your form to get your t-shirt. Yes.
Everything for a teacher, not just only the knowledge. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. If there's any other, I know, Dawn, I'm going to stay online for you. If there are no other questions, though, guys, you guys, thank you for being here today, for giving up, I know, this precious summertime, and I truly appreciate it. And again, I will send the recording out so that you can review anything we talked about today.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Hey, you too. Thanks so much.
All right, and I am going to stop recording.